talking with Ellen Silverman, and might share some of your experiences with negative ions. How did you first come to appreciate them?
The concept isn't new to me, and I have used ionizers in the past over the years to clean the air in the atmosphere I was working in or living in. And then very recently, I was gifted something called an ion bulb. And I didn't know very much about it, but it was installed for me in my living room. And I'd had a series of very severe allergy attacks that have been worsening over the past 3 years, and had gotten so bad that I would literally be sick for months on end with allergic rhinitis. And as it worsened, I became allergic to my dogs and my cat and just suffered all the time. It was really hard to breathe. When this was installed, I noticed a difference pretty soon. I started to clear up and breathe more easily. And I'd say within 48 hours, I was no longer reacting to the dander from the dogs and the cats. And it had truly been so severe that if my cat even jumped up on the chair next to me, I got an allergy attack. That has stopped. And I would say that's about 3 months ago, and I haven't had an allergy attack since. And the cat happily walks all over my lap, the dogs jump up on me, and I haven't had any more problems. So I was very, very impressed. The only difference that was in my environment was this little ion bulb. And it's interesting because last week it was removed from the room so that it could be used for a demonstration elsewhere. I was without it for about a week. And I noticed that I was starting to get allergic rhinitis again. My eyes were tearing. I was having trouble breathing. My sinuses were filling up. So, I mean, I pretty much begged to get this back. And it was duly returned to the house and installed in its little spot above my recliner. And once again, I'm clear. I have no allergy problems at all. So I would say that's remarkable.
Gosh, I would too. You know, we often do not, oftentimes, most of the time, do not appreciate energetically what the effects of our environments, how our environments are affecting us. And then when we have the pathologies show up, we just presume that they are ours. They are something that's about us, and not really taking into consideration or not even being aware that it's about what's being put out by what we've put in our environment.
I think that's very true. And working as a medical professional, I have seen that time and time again. I work with a lot of elderly patients who are in environments like assisted care homes, assisted living homes, hospitals. And one of the worst places in the world for a sick person to go is into a hospital because of the danger of nosocomial infections. And then even within an environment where so many people are living closely together, sharing rooms, people who are older, debilitated, have various medical conditions, there's a real difficulty in terms of clean, fresh air. They're not getting out, they're not exercising as much. It's apt to be, even in the cleanest of places, it's apt to be a little dusty and a little bit closed in. So I've been so impressed by my experience with the ion bulb that I've started talking to people about it who are running these care homes. And I have an amazing amount of interest because there really is a certain awareness about the quality of air or the lack of quality of air in our indoor environments. And that's something that we never really took seriously before. We were always talking about the degree of pollution outside, about smog, about fumes from fossil fuels. No one really started to take a close look at our indoor environment until quite recently. So, I, for one, can attest to being much more aware of what's going on within my home, having had this experience. And I think that we're going to see a lot more interest and a lot more participation on the part of people who are interested in high-level health in terms of keeping the air fresh and clean at home.
And rich or in negative ions,
Absolutely.
even saturated. Having saturation and negative ion saturation is a good thing. I mean, literally, that's a beach in the desert, if this you really want to get down to it from an atmospheric standpoint. The interesting thing you mentioned too, talking about fumes from fossil fuels, is that what we tend not to appreciate is that the off-gassing phenomena from our mattresses. Dr. Morris was talking about the latex, for example, off of new mattress, and or from our carpets, or from our air fresheners, quote unquote, when we're putting this stuff out. Those are hydrocarbon based, and essentially those are fossil fuels, and you're having the same effects. As the hydrocarbons are put in the atmosphere, they bind up oxygen. They make oxygen less available. And so to have a negative ion generator, which is literally generating free electrons, from talking to Dr. Morris, you are literally nullifying those positive charges. You are basically making them go away.
Well, all of us who live in the desert know how good we feel after we have a really big electrical storm, and how clean everything is, how fresh it smells outdoors, and how good we feel emotionally and physically after that kind of negative ion charge in the atmosphere. So to be able to bring that indoors on a regular basis means that we really do experience a great deal of well-being. And I know that I've always been very leery about bringing new products home. I mean, I remember how concerned I was about buying a new car. And, on the one hand, I bought this new Prius, and that it's a wonderful car and it's ecologically sound. On the other hand, I realized that every time I stepped in it and I had the windows closed, that the new carpeting and the new upholstery released gases that I was breathing in. And the same thing, as Dr. Morris said, for products we're bringing home. And we don't even realize half of the etiology of the pollution that we have indoors. And until recently, very little knowledge about effective ways to clean it up. I mean, even bringing your dry cleaning home. When you take those plastic bags off, where are those fumes going? They're going in the closet, they're going in the air. They're clothes that we're putting on our body, that we're breathing in, and so many of the chemically based products that we use are truly not very good for us to breathe in. So it is a wonderful benefit to be able to have this available, and just just amazing that it's in this little bulb, versus the ionizers of years past. I remember when I first saw an ionizer, it's a number of years ago. It looked like a speaker, looked like one of those big stereo speakers. And then I finally got something that, that got down to kind of a desktop. But I've actually never had an experience with anything as efficient as this bulb. So I heartily recommend it.
Wow, very, very good. Ellen, thank you very
You're
much.
so welcome. Thank you.